You probably clicked on this video looking for a list. You want to know the top 20 words your dog actually understands. And science does have an answer for that. Researchers have found that the average dog can learn between 89 and 165 specific human words. Words like walk, dinner, treat, outside, and of course, bed. But behavioral neuroscience tells a completely different story about how canine language actually works. Because a dog's most profound vocabulary isn't spoken. It is enacted. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. You wake up in the dark. Your golden retriever circles your mattress, their golden fur glowing faintly in the moonlight, settling against your leg and taking up exactly 80% of the available space. They let out a long, heavy sigh, and their eyes drift shut. When you said the word bed a few hours ago, you thought you were just using one of those top 20 words to give a command. You thought they just want a soft place to sleep. But what your golden retriever is doing right now is one of the most complex expressions of evolutionary attachment on the planet. And most owners have no idea. Let's start with the warmth and comfort theory, because it sounds reasonable. It is the most common explanation we give ourselves. Of course my dog sleeps in my bed. We think. It's soft. I'm warm. It's the best seat in the house. But here's the problem with that logic. Your golden retriever has a natural body temperature of around 101.5 degrees Fahrenheit, wrapped in a dense, double-layered coat designed to repel water and insulate against freezing temperatures. They don't biologically need your 98.6-degree body heat to survive a Tuesday night in a climate-controlled house. Furthermore, if it were purely about physical comfort, there are objectively better options. They could sprawl out on the cooling tiles of the bathroom floor. They could curl up on their orthopedic memory foam dog bed in the corner. They could stretch out on the rug without being accidentally kicked when you roll over. They have options. So why do they keep choosing you? The answer lies in the deeply rooted language of survival. In the wild, sleep is the ultimate vulnerability. When an animal closes its eyes, it is entirely defenseless against predators. By choosing to sleep pressed against you, your dog is communicating a word that goes far beyond bed. They are communicating the concept of absolute, unconditional trust. To truly understand this, we have to look at the science of the canine mind. When your golden retriever does this, when they press their spine against your leg or rest their chin on your ankle, they're performing the single most fundamental behavior in attachment psychology. In 2018, researchers at Evolutionary University in Hungary, one of the world's leading centers for canine cognition, conducted a landmark study on interspecies bonds. They adapted a famous psychological test called the secure base effect, which was originally designed to measure the attachment between human mothers and their human infants. The researchers wanted to know if dogs viewed their owners the way children view their parents. The results were staggering. The study revealed that over 61% of adult dogs demonstrate a secure attachment style to their owners, a statistical mirror of the infant-mother bond in humans. When your dog is in a new, slightly stressful environment, your presence physically lowers their heart rate. You are their secure base. So, when your golden retriever climbs into your bed at night, they aren't just looking for a mattress. They are seeking their safe haven. They're not being needy, and they aren't being stubborn. They're telling you you're their ultimate source of safety in a chaotic world. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because this isn't just psychology. It's chemistry. In 2015, a groundbreaking study published by researchers at Asahi University in Japan completely changed how we view the human-dog bond. The research team, led by Dr. Takefumi Kikusui, studied the neurochemistry of dogs and their owners interacting. They discovered that when dogs and humans engage in mutual contact, specifically soft, gazing, and physical touch, both species experience a massive spike in a neurohormone called oxytocin, often called the love hormone. Oxytocin is the exact same chemical that floods a mother's brain when she nurses her newborn. This creates a positive feedback loop. Your golden retriever leans against you. Their brain releases oxytocin, which suppresses the release of cortisol, the primary stress hormone. They feel calm. You pet them, and your brain releases oxytocin, lowering your blood pressure. And what they found was extraordinary. This chemical loop does not happen when wolves interact with humans, even if those wolves were hand-raised by humans from birth. It doesn't happen with unfamiliar humans. It is an exclusive biological dialogue. This co-evolved specifically between dogs and humans over thousands of years. Now, think about what happens over 8 hours of this behavior. 8 unbroken hours of your golden retriever sleeping pressed against your side is an 8-hour continuous drip of oxytocin, stabilizing their central nervous system and regulating their HPA axis, the brain's stress response system. Which brings us to the inevitable question: when did this behavior start? The answer is basically from the beginning. We have to go back more than 15,000 years. Pre-agriculture, pre-written language, back to the Ice Ages, when early humans were nomadic hunter-gatherers. The domestication of the dog wasn't an accident. It was a survival pact. The wolves with lower flight distances, the ones bold enough to approach human fires, began to scavenge. Over generations, the friendliest were selected, but it went far beyond utility. At a site called Bonnober Castle in Germany, archaeologists discovered a grave dating back 14,200 years. Inside were the remains of a man, a woman, and a dog. But the dog's remains showed something incredible. Evidence of a severe illness that the dog survived for months before its death. It couldn't hunt. It couldn't work. It survived only because the humans fed it, nursed it, and cared for it. These weren't just working animals. They were family. Today, we have the genetic proof. Domestic dogs carry unique genetic insertions in chromosome 6, specifically structural variants in genes like GTF2I and GDF2IRD1. In humans, deletions in this exact genetic region cause Williams-Beuren syndrome, a condition characterized by extreme, hypersocial behavior and intense desires to bond. Your golden retriever isn't doing something unusual when they refuse to sleep anywhere but by your side. They're doing something that's been selected for across 15 millennia of shared evolutionary history. Now, I want to tell you about a study that nobody talks about because the finding seems impossible at first. For years, sleep specialists have warned against letting dogs sleep in your bed. And scientifically, they had a point. In 2017, researchers at the Mayo Clinic tracked the sleep efficiency of 40 healthy adults who shared their bedroom with a dog. The data showed what you probably already know. Dogs disrupt your sleep. They twitch. They dream. They suddenly decide they need to aggressively lick their paws at 4:15 a.m. The objective tracking devices showed that owners lost measurable minutes of REM sleep and had lower overall sleep efficiency. And yet, when the researchers surveyed the participants, almost every single participant reported feeling highly rested, secure, and relaxed. How is that possible? How can the data show disrupted sleep, while the human brain reports feeling completely rested? Maybe your golden retriever isn't ruining your sleep architecture. Maybe they're restoring something more ancient than an uninterrupted REM cycle. And this is where it gets deep. We are wired to feel vulnerable in the dark. Having an apex predator turned best friend acting as a biological alarm system at the foot of your bed satisfies a primal human need for psychological safety. The feeling of security actually overrides the physical micro-awakenings. But the science of the canine-human sleep connection didn't stop there. A fascinating area of recent research, explored by institutions like Monash University in 2024, has begun looking at physiological synchrony between humans and dogs. Researchers monitored the heart rate variability, or HRV, of dogs and their owners while they rested together. HRV is a key indicator of nervous system regulation, and what they found was extraordinary. Over a short period of time, the dogs and their owners showed correlated heart rate variability. As the owner's breathing deepened and their heart rate slowed, the dog's cardiovascular system mirrored the pattern. Their nervous systems were in sync. They tested this with strangers, too. If a dog rested next to an unfamiliar human, the physiological mirroring did not occur. This only happens within bonded pairs. When you say the word bed and your golden retriever follows you, you are initiating a biological lock and key mechanism. Sleeping beside your golden retriever isn't just a psychological comfort. It's a neurological event. There's one last thing I need to tell you, and it might be the most important part of this video, because we've established that sleeping next to you is a deeply ingrained, neurochemically rewarding behavior. We also have to talk about what happens when it stops. If your golden retriever has been enthusiastically jumping in your bed for months or years, and one day they stop, don't brush it off as them simply wanting their own space. Dogs are creatures of habit. When a deeply established, high-value behavior disappears overnight, there's always a reason. Sometimes it's environmental, a new pet in the house, a change in your work schedule, or even a new laundry detergent on your sheets that offends their sensitive nose. But often, it is medical. A sudden reluctance to jump into bed is frequently the very first sign of physical pain, particularly osteoarthritis. According to the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine, arthritis affects up to 80% of senior dogs, and a hesitation to jump up is noticeable long before you see them limping or walking stiffly. It can also be a sign of canine cognitive dysfunction, the dog equivalent of dementia, which affects up to 68% of dogs aged 15 and older. They may simply feel confused or disoriented in the dark. Your dog doesn't have language in the way we do. They can't tell you their hips ache. Behavior is the only way they can tell you something is wrong. Pay attention to their silence. So, let's go back to tonight. The next time you wake up at 3 a.m. with exactly 6 inches of mattress to yourself and 80 pounds of golden fur pressed heavily against your legs, before you get frustrated and try to shove them over, remember what's actually happening. Remember the 15,000 years of evolutionary history that brought that animal out of the wilderness and into your home. Remember the invisible neurochemical loop of oxytocin that no other species shares with us in exactly this way. Remember an attachment system built to mirror the profound, unconditional bond between parent and child. Your dog knows a lot of words, but their behavior speaks volumes. All of their instincts, their genetics, and their chemistry are pointed at one single, undeniable truth. Sleeping beside you is the safest place in their world. And honestly, the science suggests it might be doing something pretty incredible for you too. If this changed how you see your golden retriever, hit that subscribe button to join Paws Psyche and drop a comment below. I want to know where your dog sleeps tonight. Does your golden retriever take up the whole bed? Or do they sleep at your feet? And if you want to understand why your golden retriever constantly follows you into the bathroom, even when you shut the door, that's the next video right here on the screen. And trust me, the science behind that behavior is even stranger than you'd expect.